Hello everyone. Today we turn our attention to Mark chapter 2, a passage that invites us to witness both the power of Jesus' forgiveness and the transformative nature of his call. In the opening verses, we find a paralyzed man being brought before Jesus. His friends, determined and resourceful, lower him through the roof of a crowded house so that he might be near the teacher. Now, the act is not about bending rules, it's an expression of genuine faith. A belief that Jesus is the one who can restore not only our physical health, but also something far deeper. Now, as Jesus sees the man, he speaks words that unsettle the religious experts who were present. He says, son, your sins are forgiven. Now, in a culture where forgiveness was understood to be the exclusive province of God, this statement carries tremendous weight. Now, the scribes immediately question and they even challenge the authority of Jesus to forgive sins. Jesus, however, he demonstrates that his mission encompasses both the spiritual and the physical realms. To show that his words carry divine authority, he tells the man to stand, take his mat, and go home. The man does so without hesitation, a sign that what was spoken is real, and that the power to heal accompanies the power to forgive. This event is much more than an isolated miracle. It's a visible demonstration that Jesus came to restore humanity's broken relationship with God by forgiving sins. He addresses the root of human brokenness. The healing of the man becomes a sign that God's redemptive work is active right here and right now. This is a work that restores, renews, and reconciles. Now, shortly after this healing, the narrative shifts as Jesus calls Levi, a tax collector, to follow him. Now, tax collectors were not held in high regard, and Levi's profession marked him as an outsider in the eyes of many. Yet, Jesus extends his invitation to Levi without reservation. In accepting this call, Levi leaves behind his old way of life, responding to a summons that offers a fresh start. Jesus' decision to dine with tax collectors and sinners further underscore his mission, which is that he came to reach those who are sinners and to bring them into a restored relationship with God. This inclusion of the unexpected reminds us that the gospel is not confined by our human standards of worthiness. Instead, it's a gracious invitation into the kingdom, a call that is extended to every person regardless of their background or their past mistakes. Now, Jesus' association with those who were considered the worst sinners is a deliberate sign that that in the new covenant, rather, that he brings transformation of social boundaries and redefines what it means to be part of God's people. But on this point, I want to be clear that Jesus wasn't partying with the prostitutes and tax collectors. He was ministering to them. This is an important point that I feel that it needs to be emphasized, as Jesus was not condoning their sin, but calling them to redemption. Now, the chapter concludes with a teaching on the new nature of Jesus' ministry, using the familiar image of new wine in old wineskins. Now, when questioned about why his disciples do not fast, Jesus explains that the new life he brings cannot be confined to old forms. The new wine symbolizing the fresh, transformative power of his message. Now, this needs to be in a new container, one that is flexible and open to change. In this image, Jesus is not dismissing tradition or lightly. He's still holding it in regard, but he is pointing to a reality that demands a reformed way of living, a life where the renewing work of God cannot be contained by outdated practices. Now, I want to ask you to reflect on Mark. And as you do reflect on Mark chapter 2, please consider that what these events reveal about Jesus. His healing of the paralytic man and the forgiveness he offers affirm that his mission is to restore the very core of our being. His call to Levi and his willingness to dine with those deemed unworthy by society also underscore that his invitation is open to everyone. There is a sovereign authority in Jesus' work. This is an authority that bridges the gap between our deepest spiritual needs and our everyday lives, our physical needs. This chapter is a reminder that Jesus' authority goes beyond conventional expectations. His ability to forgive sins and heal the broken is not confined by the limits of our human understanding. Rather, it points to a God who is actively engaged in redeeming all aspects of our existence. Now, the miracles recorded here are authentic signs that validate Jesus' divine mission and invite each one of us to trust in Jesus. And Jesus is the one who heals and restores. So I invite you to consider these truths personally. If you have ever felt weighed down by a sense of separation or unworthiness, remember that the same Jesus who forgave the paralyzed man's sins is inviting you into a renewed relationship with God. His call is clear. His call is there for you to experience the reality of His forgiveness and a hope of a transformed life. Now, thank you for joining me as we explored the powerful message in Mark chapter 2. And I look forward to continuing this journey through the gospel as we uncover more about the redemptive work of Jesus in the Gospel of Mark. Please join me next time as we move forward in our study. And until then, may you be encouraged by the knowledge that the one who forgives and heals is at work in your life today. Until next time, thanks for watching.